And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. If you didn't know, I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the only podcast. Nope, I just got it all wrong. I'm trying to make sure this camera records, and all right, let's start over. Let's pretend the last couple of seconds didn't happen. Let's do it. Let's do the theme song again and go. Hey, welcome back to the Constitutional Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the only podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, this website, go there. Like I just said, I'm your host, Chad White. Spending a lot of seconds wasting in an episode that's extremely late. I would like to say it was the camera's fault, but it wasn't. I just got lazy one day after work, and then, no. I was busy. I had to do something that wasn't any of your business. But now, here we are, finally recording this episode. I was going to record it yesterday on Sunday. Today's Monday, the day this episode comes out. And then in 2 more days, I have to do one more episode, another episode, not one more. What episode is this? 111. This is episode 111. Let's jump right into it. No, let's talk real quick. I got a haircut in the middle of the workday on Friday. When I was at work, I said, all right, I'm going to get a haircut. I got a haircut. If you're watching the video version, you know I got a haircut. If you watch News Time, which is coming out the same day this is coming out, hopefully. It's also close to 8 o'clock, and I'm very tired, which probably means I'm not going to work on anything the rest of the night. I'm just kidding. I'll work on News Time. But I got a haircut. I specifically went to this place that's near my work. It's about 15 minutes away. Took me about 30 minutes to get there because, it's traffic during the day. Even though Google said 18 minutes, it took me like 20, 25 minutes to get there. And I get there. I've been to this place before. I went there a couple of months ago, and I went to. Let me tell you about that trip. I went there, got a haircut. The guy just gave me a horrible haircut. It was just bad, just straight up bad. And then he added me to his text list because he doesn't have a card. And he will text like 50 people at a time, and then people will respond to this chain. So I had to block that. And thank God I'm on Android so I can block that stuff. So I say I'm never going to go back there. All right, cool. And plus the shopping center is just trash to maneuver in and to maneuver out of. Like to just get in, get out, just any of that stuff. So, cut to Friday. Spent several months. I go, maybe I'll give this place another shot. I'll go to a different barber. I call up ahead of time. I go, hey, I'll call up at like 9 o'clock. Say, hey, can I set an appointment for 1 p.m.? First of all, the guy goes, well, you can just walk in. We'll accept walk-ins. And I'm like, I'm on a short time, but all right. So I go in there. At 1 p.m. I leave work at like 12:30. Get in there at 1 p.m. Like 12:48. I sign my name in, and there's 6 total barbers or 7 total barber chairs, and then 6 barbers working, and 1 barber's not working, or 2 barbers aren't working. So there's 7 total chairs. 2 barbers aren't working. One's just like sitting there, I guess, on his break, and then another one's in the back somewhere. Then they go, oh well, I think his name was DJ. I really don't care. is DJ doing anything? And then because there's 3 guys waiting, but they're waiting on specific barbers, which is my mistake. I should have done that. So then this guy comes out, and he looks like me. He's like a young hip cat, a lot of tattoos. Looks nothing like me. Tall. And he sits me down in a chair, and I show him a picture of Odell Beckham Jr. What I want is called a burst fade mohawk. I just want a mohawk, essentially. A mohawk that's just instead of fading the back, you would just fade the sides, and that's essentially the mohawk, the version of mohawk I wanted. I get in there, I sit in his chair, I show him that picture, and he goes like first of all he looks at Odell like he doesn't know who he is. Like this is one of the best receivers in the NFL. Like, come on, please know who this guy is. And he sits me down, and he's like, oh, send me the picture. So now this guy has my number. So send me the picture. And then he's like, let me look. He keeps looking at the picture on my phone, even though I sent him the picture. And then he tells me, he goes, follow my Instagram. And I don't follow his Instagram. First of all, I pull it up, and I think, no, I shouldn't have to follow your Instagram. First of all, he's got as many followers as C Plus Comedy is following on Instagram. That's 70 followers, which is nothing. My personal account has more followers than C Plus Comedy's account, which has featured several famous people, such as 2 of the Super Troopers, Laurie Cole Martin, Ron Funches, just a bunch of famous people, Jen Kirkman. was gonna say Brian Regan, but I never interviewed him. I reached out to his people. Boy, howdy. So anyway, so we're doing the haircut. It takes him an hour and a half to get through the haircut. That is disgustingly long. First of all, my hair wasn't even that long. It was medium to long length. And I'm weighing my options of writing a review because I think people should know this. Twice I go to this place and I get a crappy haircut, and I do blame the barbers. And also the AC was out, so they had the door open and maybe like 2 small fans that were blowing, and so I was sweating through all of my clothes, all of them, my shorts, my pants because I was at work, my pants and my button-up shirt. I was just wet, just soaking wet. So he hands me the mirror, and he goes, "How was that?" And I go, "I guess it's fine because it's been an hour and a half, and I have to get back to work. It's going to take me another 20 minutes to a half hour to get back there." So I guess it's fine. Like, I look at it, and then he charges me. I see a board, and then this is my mistake. I see a board up front that says haircuts are $20, and then I go, "How much are you?" He goes, $30, and I go, "Excuse me." And I just get, I was like, I don't have time for this. I get out and I leave, and immediately, as soon as I looked at myself in the mirror and I was handing the money, I go, "This guy effed up my hair. This guy just screwed up my hair. Up top, it's very thin." Which is not my thing. I have thick billowy hair because I take care of it. But it feels like a flat top up top. There's a front part where that comes over my forehead. Well, it's not coming over my forehead, but where the front part of the hair that sits above my forehead is lopsided. So one side is bigger than the other, so I have to pat it down whenever I fix it. And then the back is also big in itself, so the back top is big. So it goes. If you're looking at the video, and I urge you to, it goes big part, and you can't see it obviously in the video because I'm recording this in my closet again. So it goes big part, flat, big part, then the back, like big part top, and then the back, which is fine. Odell also had some lines in his hair in the back part, like at the very bottom. And the guy's like, "You want the lines?" I go, "Yeah, sure." And I expecting lines. This guy cuts essentially what looks like, imagine a turkey baster. So there's the line part, where the turkey actually shoots out, where the turkey baster shoots out the juices. So the basting juices. So there's the line part, and then there's like the big squeezer that's like a circle, and that's essentially what my line looks like from like the middle part out. So there's 4 lines, 2 in the middle, and then 2 right directly under that. He screwed up my hair. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to write a review, and it's going to be scathing. But I'm glad I spent 8 minutes talking about that. Let's move on. I want to go over the stories that I have for last week. This is from the New York Post. Google Assistant contractors slam company as white collar workshop. It's written by, because I have to do this, Christopher Carbone for Fox News. So according to a new report in The Guardian, I probably should have just done that, the contractors, part of a much larger group of more than 100,000 temps, vendors, and contractors at Google, have been pressured to work unpaid overtime and often feel like second-class citizens at the tech giant. So basically anything that happens at Google is basically relayed through people. So if you haven't heard recently, Google Duplex, which is the AI assistant, you ask AI assistant to set up a restaurant reservation for you, and most of the time, I think there was like an absurd amount of time that like 90% of the time or something like that, or like 50% of the time, that it's a person that handles setting up the reservation instead of Google Assistant doing it. But anyway, so these people that are working on Google Assistant, that are answering questions, that are making sure everything's running smoothly, that are either coding, or they're just answering queries, or they're taking the stuff that Google Assistant's having trouble with and just kind of giving it a little, ushering it along. They are being just worked like horses. Let's see. According to The Guardian, the Pygmalion team, I can't read, the thing is very far away, now includes 40 to 50 full-time Googlers and about 200 temporary workers employed through agencies. And they're just working their butts off. And I think this is like across, If you have Google Fi, a lot of the support team is in India. And it's bizarre to ask a specific question and for that to not be relayed. And I don't mean this as a knock, but not to be relayed in perfect English, or for it not to be understood correctly or be handled properly. And so, you're dealing with all these contractors, but they're also not making enough money. The full-time people at Google, typically the median is really $240,000. That's from the New York Post. Temps and contractors are paid way, way, way less than that. When I was when I was a freelance at the Weather Channel, I was making about $30 an hour. I was making $30 an hour. But again, when I was at NBC, I was the only person who was not paid, who was not full-time, the only person. And I had experience, I had the wherewithal, and I was pumping out stories left and right. I was pumping out stuff that they now do as entertainment news. I was coming up with ideas, and I was paid $10 an hour. I was paid less than interns. I know, because one day an intern came up to me, and they were like, how do I fill out my timesheet? And I was like, let me help you out. And I saw their hours. And I was like, whoa, you're working more hours than me. I didn't say it out loud because I was ashamed. Still am. So, surprised by the mic. I just kissed the mic. But just know, Google's not entirely, well, I mean, I know Google's not a good company. And I say this having Google, like using primarily Google Chrome, which sucks because Google Chrome is also, they're taking away the ability to use ad blockers on it. So now I got to switch everything over to Firefox, which is going to be easy enough, but I like Google Chrome. It sucks. It blows that Google's going down like this, and it's really becoming a surveillance state. But everybody's doing that. Even though, WWDC's conference today, with Apple's conference at WWDC was today, and they harped on privacy. But regardless of when it comes down to it, Apple still has all your stuff, And then if Google's Nest and the Assistant and YouTube and most of Google's services went down this past weekend. Apple's cloud has had a huge hacking thing. iTunes sucks, and they're replacing that. But nothing's perfect, and Google is really on the forefront of that. Let's move on. Apparently, so this is from 2 weeks ago, and I just saved the story. Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show is reportedly in trouble as ratings plummet. This is from the Daily Beast, written by Barbie Latsanadu. That's a name. Now, typically, this is all clickbaity stuff, but this has since proven to be true. Page 6 reports that NBC's late-night host is scrambling to keep his show afloat after his ratings have been plummeting, and he struggled to recover from the infamous 2016 softball interview with Donald Trump. They're losing. Fallon's Tonight Show is losing to Colbert's Late Show. People want. It's funny because when you're in the comedy podcast world, whenever a comedy podcast talks about the politics around them, then people will just get mad and angry. But one of the most consistent performing shows on television are always these late night shows. Even if Tonight Show isn't doing well, but late night's doing well. Whenever Kimmel does something about politics, it does well. Closer Look by Seth Meyers gets the craziest amount of clicks on YouTube. Yeah, and Samantha Bee's doing well, and Trevor Noah's Daily Show is always doing well. So, and Conan is there being the best gosh darn host. This comes after longtime executive producer Katie Hockmeyer left the team, but she's employed by NBC, so they're gonna have to get some more. They're gonna get a couple of producers in there. Colbert's show, Late Show, really turned the tide when they got the CBS. News or CBS This Morning producer, the guy who's really good, and I forgot. I did a story on him on Newstime. So they need somebody who can revitalize the show. Maybe pick somebody from SNL, because Fallon worked with SNL, and I guarantee one of the producers is still there. One of the producers from his tenure was still there. I guarantee all of them are still there. Maybe get one of them. and get an NBC News person too, for the sake of it. You know, you get two people who are on opposite ends of the spectrum who can help them. Apparently, Fallon is always hurt by this. This is what Fallon said. It was definitely a downtime, and it's tough for morale. There's 300 people that work here, and so when people are talking that bad about you and ganging up on you, it's a really gang mentality. You go, all right, we get it. I heard you, he added. You made me feel bad. So now what? Are you happy I'm depressed? Do you want to push me more? What do you want me to do? You want me to kill myself? What would make you happy? Get over it. Wow. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, it's sad. But Fallon, I think Fallon's great. I've since come to and this is really recent. I've since come to reason that, no, this late night thing, everybody's in it together. Who cares? You know, they're all fighting for the cause of trying to make you laugh at 11:30 at night. And really, that's all that matters. Then also, same thing. This is from Variety. The Tonight Show dropped their theme song. This is written by Michael Schneider, my good boy. My good boy. They dropped the infamous "Hey, hey, hey, hey," written by the Roots, written and performed by the Roots, and now it's just a short. A couple hays, and then they just play Jimmy on. I think it's to really get in that attention span, losing audience. People just don't want theme songs anymore. Conan's is notably shorter, especially since I have a band. Full Frontals is like 10 seconds. I started Hassan Minaj's. Not sure. I didn't start the show from the beginning, but this week's episode, and that theme song is 10 seconds long. So yeah, this is just a way for them to keep those ratings going. So read those articles if you want. Keep doing that. Let's move on. This is from The Who. Not the band. The World Health Organization. They say that gaming disorder is real. I just put this in here because I think it's stupid. We need to stop making up disorders. And look, I get it. People really want to play video games. And it sounds like I'm really discounting this. I'm not. But it is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not a real disease. Let's just stop making diseases. Let's things that are really killing people. I'm gonna go. I've heard this on 3 different IGN podcasts. And those are the only gaming podcasts we'll do these days. I stopped listening to other gaming podcasts because they try to be funny and they're not. And even IGN is trying too hard. Let's see. What is it called? This is from, what is the ICD? This is, so the International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems. Oh, God. And it's going to come into effect on January 2022. So in 3 years, it'll come into effect. This will be a real thing, and you could tell your doctor about it and whatever. They have a thing. They have a section for patient safety. Member states, patient harm due to adverse events is one leading causes of death and disability globally. What is the? You know what? I genuinely don't care. It's just people who play video games too long. That is the gist of it. Read up on it. I linked to the Who article. Who are you? Who? I want to skip over this story, but it's Disney remakes don't equal equality. Essentially, what I was talking about. I'll just talk about it because I clicked on it earlier. I should resubscribe to the New York Times. I let my subscription lapse. This comes from Aisha Harris. Oh, I know her from the New York Times. I've heard her a ton. I believe on the what is the podcast called? The Popcast by New York Times. She wrote about Aladdin and how Disney casted brown people in these roles. And here we go. I don't know to say what I've been saying for the past several episodes. Just because Disney is throwing brown people a bone and women a bone doesn't mean they're going to do it for every single movie. And it doesn't mean that they are the epitome of this stuff. It's like in the Beauty and the Beast remake when they hinted at that Josh Gad's character. God, what is his name? I'm reading it right here. I should just look at it. They had a gay moment and it was truly Josh Gad's character was LeFou. It was truly and Aisha writes, blink and you miss it. You wouldn't know it was a gay moment if you were a child. You'd only know like, hey, those two dudes were dancing together. Anyway, they're not being inclusive just because they have these things. It's only, I think, it is inclusivity when you're not making a thing of it. We're not being the loud, brash person in the room. When Supergirl this past season introduced a main character, or I guess a team, someone who's part of the team, who the actor is transgender. The story shouldn't be this is going to be the first transgender superhero. This transgender person is playing a character who I don't think the transgenderness played into the story. I think it was just because she's playing I don't know, Starly, or I don't know. I wasn't paying attention this season. When Lex Luthor came, that's when I started paying attention. John Cryer was great. They killed him off though. But I'm pretty sure her character wasn't, she's a transgender superhero. Her character was just a female superhero, and that was it. Dreamer, that's what she played. Dreamer. Her character was just a female superhero, and that. I mean, when we stop treating these things, I understand. I get it. I'm glad. I'm so happy that they had a transgender superhero. I'm so glad they had brown people in these movies. But when that becomes the storyline, and that's not even part of the written storyline, then that's the issue. That's when you make these characters feel like they're outside of their element, like they shouldn't be there. Like, just because Black Panther was a superhero movie with all black characters doesn't mean that it's inherently supposed to be this be all end all for black people. It truly does not. And the same thing goes for Aladdin. And when Mulan comes out, it doesn't mean it's going to be a be all end all for Asian people. And then Dreamer is not the be all end all for transgender people and superheroisms. Not Google. Disney's gonna make. They said Kevin Feige was talking about how they're gonna do. We're gonna see a gay Marvel character in a couple of years in the movies. They should have just put one in there 5 years ago. One of my favorite reveal moments, and it truly does not matter because it was not a story. Until like way after the movie came out, was I think in Star Trek, not Beyond, but I think Into the Darkness. You find out John Cho's character, Mr. Sulu, is gay. And it's in the last part of this movie. He's walking up, like they get back from this mission, and he sees his husband, and he goes and hugs him and kisses him and does whatever. And that is how you do it. And no one talked about, like, I didn't see it until after the movie came out. I didn't see like a story about that until after the movie came out. And if we just, that's how it should always be. Dumbo came out, it was full of white people. It's bull crap. The Jungle Book had mostly white people. Cinderella was all white people. I don't think, how can y'all be happy about that? I think both iterate. The Jungle Book that was made for Netflix, it wasn't made for Netflix. The Jungle Book that Warner Brothers dropped because it was a horrible movie that Netflix picked up, that was all white people. All white people. We gotta stop babying these things just because it's your childhood. Just because Disney and Pixar give us Coco doesn't mean that. I'm done talking about it. I'm just so mad. It just makes me so angry. So I'm treating them like they're something special. And the last thing I want to know, wait, there's 2 more things? Is there 2 more things? Oh, all right. I have 2 more things. And then I could stop doing the show tonight. Oh my God, recording way too long. One is female film critics still outnumbered by male reviewers. Almost 2-1 in 2019, study says. Written by Brian Welk of The Wrap. This is a very interesting article that I saw, and I wish I had more time to talk about it. But women critics are still being they're outnumbered. I was going to say marginalized, but that doesn't make sense. Women critics aren't. There are too many male critics. And in the same vein, there are too many white male critics who all share the same ideas about the same things. Women accounted for only 34% of the reviewers out of the 380 individuals whose work is included on Rotten Tomatoes, and only 32% of the 4,750 reviews counted in the survey during the spring of 2019. And that's recent. That's that's just like spring. We're still in the midst. We're about to start summer, but we're still in the midst of the end of spring. Essentially, I guess, because summer hasn't started yet. But it's hot. it's Atlanta. It's hot. It started getting hot in February. It was hot since November. It has never been cold here. That's staggering. The number of female critics rose 2% compared to 2018 study, and women wrote 3% more of all the reviews published compared to last year's study. You notice that these things, if you read a lot about this crap, you notice that these things tend to be true. There's A.A. Dowd is a very popular AV Club writer. Peter, God, I can't remember anyone's name now. The moments I need to remember somebody's names, and I only can think of basketball players right now. Great game. Did you guys see that game last night? Really close. Timestamp everything. But you get all these reviewers, and you notice that most of them do happen to be male and do happen to be. All right. Let's not bring race in. Let's go sex. Let's do all sex. But it is a lot of male critics out there, and a lot of female critics are getting pushed back to the bottom of the pile, or they're not even getting chances. There's not a Fair by Eisenberg. Who's the host of Pop Culture Happy Hour? I forgot her name. This happens. I listen to her twice a week. God, this is embarrassing. But sometimes you get people like that, women like that, and they host their own shows. They're very prominent voices, but then other times, you see the same 15 names from the same 15 outlets, or the same 7 outlets. By media outlet, men account for 78% of individuals writing for general interest magazines and websites, which is true. 73%, which is fake. 73% writing for trade publications, 72% writing for newspapers and wire services, 65% writing for movie/entertainment magazines and websites, 58% writing for radio, television. Further, men write 73% of reviews about documentaries, 72% about action features, 69% about science fiction, 68% about dramas. Why? 67% about horror. Oh my gosh, 67% about animated, 62% about comedy. These numbers are out of proportion, and comedy/dramas, and 60% about comedies. These are true numbers. These are imbalances that I just do not understand. And it's ridiculous how websites and publications just don't tend to hire women in these spots, which is invalidating anything that they say or write. In the future, you just give someone a chance. Just is what I'm saying. Just give anyone a chance. Everyone has a voice. And not everything can be seen on cpluscomedy.com. Not everything can be seen on chadwhite.blogspot.com. We give someone a chance to have their voice heard inside of your website. A lot of I don't know if I've ever brought this up, but I've been thinking about it in the last couple of months lately. When GTA 5 came out, on 360 and PS3 the first time, I remember hearing the glowing reviews from all of the gaming outlets, and then I remember a lot of the criticism, quote unquote, of that game came from the white and male reviewers, but I'm going to go ahead and lean in with white reviewers, and they're saying something along the lines of they felt uncomfortable when when the black main character, not Travis, not the Italian guy, but the black guy, the only black person in the game, when the black main character was whenever he would talk to his friends or anybody or any other character, he would use the N-word, and people were up in arms about that. They're like, oh, it just makes me uncomfortable to hear him say that word, and because I never hear that word. And I remember very specifically, this is when the Indoor Kids was still a podcast, and I hate to call them out, but I doubt I'll ever work with them. Emily V. Gordon and Camille Nanjiani, the host and husband and wife team of that then now defunct podcast, they were talking about that game, and I remember they mentioned that made them really uncomfortable. And then I thought, well, that's a valid statement. And then, I cut to now it's years later, and I think, well, I mean, you just don't hang around a lot of people like that. You don't hang around a lot of black people like that. None of these reviewers do. Like, I highly doubt that any of these reviewers, and I hate to call people out, but I highly doubt that. And I don't think Ryan McCaffrey was doing this, but I highly doubt that Ryan McCaffrey at IGN is hanging around black people like that, or any black people like that. Period. Like if you felt offended, that's fine. I'm not going to take that away from you, but and I'm not saying that's how all black people talk. Obviously, I don't talk like that, but I grew up with a lot of black people. I have a lot of black friends. Is what I'm saying. I am black. I am a black. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of stupid that anyone feels that gives them quote unquote anxiety about that. And then the final thing I want to talk about, this comes from The Atlantic, written by Taylor Lorenz, The Real Difference Between Creators and Influencers. This is a story about how YouTube essentially created this new brand of people that are both creators and influencers. Now, influencers are the people on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook who have like hashtag ad in their things, and they have like the newest Galaxy phone. I don't know why I chose Galaxy. I'm a Pixel boy. They have a newest Galaxy phone, or they have like Me Undies or something like that. And they basically they make products, they elevate products to a whole different level. Kylie Jenner and Pepsi. Is that true? Kendall and Pepsi. God bless. And then there was also creators who are people who who just make stuff. Your bloggers, your Casey Neistats, your NKBHDs, your mobile tech reviews. I just name all technology things because that's all I watch on YouTube. That's the only reason I subscribe to Google Play Music, so I can get that ad-free YouTube and support people at the same time without using ad blockers. Google, I'm gonna go back to this whole Google Chrome thing, not using ad blockers. What they do is, now that they're getting rid of ad blockers, that means that they can get revenue from the websites now. So there you go. Get more revenue, not just like before. Revenue was maybe they're getting like 5% revenue with all these ad blockers. Now they're gonna be able to get like 15, because you're using Chrome and you're clicking on these ads, or the ads you're seeing or whatever. Anyway, who cares? That's like a cursory look at it. So YouTube creators, versus influencers, and this article is talking about what they want to be called. And it really shows, and it shows how they came to be, how creators and influencers came to be via YouTube, and first with these new companies that YouTube was first incubated and then eventually bought, like Next New Networks, who had a bunch of partners and stuff like that. And now they call them partners and all that stuff. It's a great article. I urge you to read it, and you'll learn a lot about influencers and creators. And creators are mostly YouTube, influencers are for everywhere. That's essentially what it is. So yeah, check it out. Good article. Listen, I've held you long enough. If you like what you heard here, head on over to the website cpluscomedy.com, where there's gonna, what? I'm still paying for it, but God Almighty, I'm so mad. If you don't know, Squarespace, I let my subscription lapse. Squarespace is now charging 3 tiers for their thing, for their website creation tools, and on the lowest tier, you cannot code. You cannot use the code. You cannot inject code into the website, which is stupid. Coding should be free, but I don't know how to make coding. I don't know how to do coding, and all it is just embedding YouTube videos and embedding podcast episodes. But whatever. Okay. Anyway, head on our website. It'll be updated at some point. If you like what you heard here, tell your friends, subscribe, watch the video version on. Listen, if you like what you heard here, we're on iTunes. Rate us, please. Rate us on Stitcher if you're using that. Listen on any podcasting service. We're on every single one of those. Watch the video on youtube.com/C+comedy. There you can see a video version of me standing here in my closet, trying not to sweat on myself because it's hot, because the air doesn't come back here in my apartment. You can see there's a light on. And I have been looking at the camera for like 3 minutes straight now. And also on youtube.com/peoplescomedy, you can see our premiere show, News Time, which is a great show I do once a week. It's like the Daily Show, except way less funny. And it's an informal news show. I enjoy it. This week's episode is about Luminary podcasts, and I got to edit it right now. So thank you for listening very much. I love you. What? Bye.